Well, fellas, let's start with how do you get to know a guy like Max? Because he seems to be one of those character actors. It's in everything, but he's like an enigma too. Like, how did you guys first get in contact? How did you guys get to know Max?
I started my career in the theater, and I worked with a fella named Lee Sellers, who is in a band with Max. And when I got to New York, started hanging out with Lee and Max a lot. Got to know Max, and always thought he was a very interesting, smart, creative guy. And when he called, I was like, "Yes, please. Would love to make a Max Baker film."
I was actually friends with the family and met him through that, and like it was over our correspondence in their house that it's like he was such a warm person and so creative, and really I met him in sophomore year of college actually, and in a lot of ways had a lot to do with the trajectory that I took, and wanting to go out to LA and become a filmmaker, make the kind of movies that he would discuss in his living room. So it was like, again, it was like a real dream to get a chance to work with Max when he came. J.K. called and said, "Hey, can you and Sam?"
Yeah, we both knew each other a little bit through New York, through Max and the band. So when we connected in LA, we had worked together on a couple of things. And when Max called and said, "I was thinking you and Sam," I was like, "Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds perfect."
Yeah, J.K. and I actually met through Max. So we were both attending his band had a concert in Manhattan.
Yeah, like 7 years ago, I think. 7 years ago or so.
So and then we started our own relationship doing work in Los Angeles. He was going to Stark USC, and I was moving out there to start working in physical production. I was working in development at the time, and and I worked on some of JK's projects, and then this project came up, and it's been great.
Do you guys mind talking about the project? Because you kind of were a little bit on Dexter, following Sarah and working with her. I mean, tell us a little bit about how y'all got started in the LA scene then.
Yeah, so I was working in development. I was tracking literary material. Dexter is based on a novel. So Sarah Carlton found Dexter as a book, and so her sort of wheelhouse was the literary world, and I would track books out there, finding material. And you read so much, and you pitch so much material, and I love development for that. It's creative in that way, but it really I became aware of the fact that I wanted to get into physical production, actually part of the physical labor of making films. So, she told me at one point that that basically, if you want to make it in this business, you have to do a tour of duty in Los Angeles. And I took that very seriously. So I moved out to Los Angeles, started working a lot with the USC graduate students, assistant directing their films, and it just, went from there.
I had a weird trajectory to get to LA. I started in the theater as an actor, and then was producing new plays in New York, and that kind of got me more interested and focused on producing new work. And so around 2007, I was really starting to get interested in film and TV. I realized that if I'm going to make a living as a producer, I need to do film and TV, because theater is really tough. And so I applied to the Peter Stark program at USC School of Cinema, and I was accepted. And so in 2008, I started that program and finished that in 2010. And once I came out of that program and had like a community of other people and producers and filmmakers, I started working in development. And I worked for Sundance Institute for my first job out of grad school, and then that kind of led to other jobs. I worked for a producer at Warner Brothers, and then in Disney's live action feature development department. And around this time, the film came up, I was on my way out of Disney, and so it was a nice opportunity to segue into something independent. And that's been about, since 2010, I've been working in various jobs in development.
Let's jump into the film a little bit. Because I know, Emily and Nadia have known Max for a long time, and they've jumped on as producers for not just this one, but other shorts. I'm curious, how long were y'all involved in his other projects too, and in getting to know Max and in all of the work that he's done?
It's funny. My wife is a playwright and TV writer, and she had been developing a stage musical that Max and Lee's band, Eelwax Jesus, has been composing the music for. So that was, around 2008 when they started collaborating on that. And so that was pretty much the start of when I was more aware of what Max was doing, both in his acting work and then in his writing. He's a very talented playwright too. And so as I was getting into, literary development, I got to know some of his plays. And then always had asked him, I was like, yeah, you ever think about making movies and stuff? And he had thought about it, but I think he was more interested in theater at the time. And then over the past, year and a half, I think he was really getting hungry to be working on camera and, behind the camera doing things. And so, before Millwood came up, he, had been talking about his previous short film, Flower Shop, and, sent me some cuts to get some, thoughts on it and stuff. And I thought it was really well shot and really interesting and, kind of fantasized about maybe making a film with him at some point. I didn't realize it was going to happen so soon, but I was grateful.
So when it came to deciding to do the production side of this, where did you guys location scout specifically, like certain areas? I mean, how did this all come about?
I mean, as far as location scouting, so it's interesting you say that. So as sort of a jumping off point from the last question, this film was the first Max Baker film that I was involved in. So, but it wasn't the first, like, basically this project came to us, Max wanted to make a movie, and so there was other iterations of other scripts, and we had developed different work, and it came to, and some of the locations particularly, for the first drafts of scripts, not Millwood, were more challenging, a little less in our reach to film. So we changed direction. We found a setting that we knew we could do well, which I think is like part of it is figuring out what you can do within your scope of budget. So we changed our direction a little bit, decided to make a film about a neighborhood, and then from there, new challenges arose trying to figure out how we were going to make it so that we could have these two women run through a neighborhood at their will. So we did begin location scouting. We looked at a lot of places. We started out with houses. One strategy was to find multiple houses in a block that would be willing to let us shoot. But that was challenging. And then we looked at a lot of houses that we liked, and we found one in Chatsworth that just really rang true for the way that Millwood should look interior. It also offered us a house in the back. So when you look at Plaster's house, Janet Plaster's home in the film, that's actually like a back patio, like a pool house. That's
interesting.
Yeah, so that house offered us two homes, and then I had a relationship with CBS Radford, and we were able to leverage that into being able to shoot on their back lot, which was an absolute dream, because that awarded us this situation where we could really just go out and go through all these yards and run through them. I mean, we would have done it anyway, but we would have gotten maybe arrested. I don't know if we did this off.
There was the backlot allowed us to have such a controlled space that there's not a single car in the film, and that was something that Max really set out to do. Like, he did not want a single car in the film if we could avoid it, and so the backlot and the house in Chatsworth, which our executive producers found, Nadia and Emily found, because we had seen half a dozen houses, in like that area, and nothing. Max saw a bunch, and nothing was really right. And then Nadia and Emily found this house, and it was perfect because we could have 2 days there that could double as multiple locations, which was everything that we needed because the film was tight. We only had 3 days to shoot it, so having that location was huge for us.
Speaking of transportation, there was not cars, but there's another form of movement in the movie. You'll talk a bit about that.
We were talking about Birdsong and our bike.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was fun, and when we were on the backlot, we were able to set her up on the bike and get like a pickup truck. I believe it was a pickup. No, it was a hatchback, and the hatchback was open, and we had basically a camera car following or leading her, I should say, throughout these streets, and then even sometimes off of our residential street that we were sectioned off to. Those shots didn't make it into the film when you're seeing the big studio stages on her left. It was really sweet to be able to work. We took some work on the actual Chatsworth Street with her riding the bike, but it had to be very minimal because you have moving traffic.
Yeah, and safety is always important on production.
Yeah, she's not going as fast, obviously.
Yeah.
I was curious. with food and films, you're always curious, like where they get it. Is it taste good? Like, where did you guys find these cookies? And did y'all have like a million takes of the cookies, or
No, we did not have a million.
No, we only, I think we only had maybe about a dozen cookies as props to use throughout the shoot. Our production designer was in charge of those. Yeah, Margot Rust, a very, very talented production designer, and really like a very big part of the film because the look of it is so unique, and she really did such a wonderful job. But she found a bakery on 3rd Street in Los Angeles that could make the cookies kind of like how Max saw them. We had found some concept art images of cookies that had, stars or planets and stuff. And so we kind of took a bunch of different concept art images and said, this is kind of what we're thinking, this from here, can you do that? And they were like, yeah, no problem. So, and we actually replicated the cookies for Austin with a local bakery called Quacks, and they did a wonderful job.
They look identical to the ones in the film.
Yeah, and they're very tasty and delicious. And so, if you see us around Austin, come find us for a cookie.
We've been running around handing out these cookies, and people are so happy to get them.
Yeah.
Like they love these cookies. And you're like, at first they think we're trying to sell them the cookie, but then they're like, "This is for me," and they're just like, "I will be at your screening. Thank you, sir." So it's been really great. It's been a great promotion.
Can you talk about getting the phone call that y'all are in, and then when you got to see the short films for, were you able to look at any of those films? Did you know any of those filmmakers? Did anything pop out when you looked and saw, oh, who we're grouped with?
For the first question, so we sent temp cut in for Austin, and we were not completed, and we were close, but I think at the end there you always feel like you're so far away from when you're still working your sound mix and you're still working your color, and even I think some of the VFX were still temp by the time we sent it into Austin. Not that there's a ton, but there's some, and JK and I were dealing with it pretty daily, and it's a hustle, and then. But then you get this call. So I woke up this morning and I got this call from one of the programmers here, Harrison, and he said, "Hey, I was in Austin, Texas, area code, and he said, "Hey, how do you feel about coming to Austin Film Festival? We would like to extend you, be a part of our shorts program." At first, I was like, "Holy smokes, this is really happening!" And then he said, would this in fact be your world premiere? And I said, "This is in fact we would love to premiere at Austin. This would be our world premiere. I do need to call my other producer, Jason, and just confirm that this is where we want a world premiere. But I think this is going to be great." So I call him and I start up the conversation saying, "Jason, I have some interesting news for you. How do you feel about going to Austin for our world premiere?"
It was so funny because, getting calls from Sam can sometimes be like, okay, there's some problem is happening. And I was like, what is it? And he's like, how would you like to premiere Millwood at Austin Film Festival? And I just remember being so excited, jumping up and down in my apartment and it was just, we worked so hard, all of us, everybody, that, worked on this film, worked so hard on it. And so it's nice, when you send it out and you just hope that people respond to it, and to get, people like Austin to respond, and they were so warm and supportive and just so, into it, that it just made us feel great and, really validated all of our hard work. So it was great.
You guys, before we did the interview, you guys asked us if we got to see any films, and we never get to see films, but I'm curious, have you guys been able to do films, or more importantly, maybe any panels?
Oh, well, to answer your earlier question about our program, we've been so busy, we've only gotten to see our shorts program last night at our premiere, but we were super impressed with our program, and the filmmakers were extraordinary, and the films, were really all unique in their own way and had a voice and had something to say, and we were just really proud to be part of that program of films.
Yeah, short films are such a unique format, and they're hard to pull off. And usually there's one or two in a program that are really strong, and this is often the case. And there's others. But seriously, the program we were in, I'm honored to be a part of this, and it's just humbled because they're all really strong films. They all have something unique to say. And they're very creative, shot very well, across the board. And the other thing I'd like to say about the shorts program, at least shorts program 4, which is Tough Choices, which we are a part of, they did an excellent job of both keeping to this theme of tough choices, but also changing gears every film. So like literally, you'll have our film, which is a little cross genre, but it has some levity, but it's also has some darkness. And then there was like a very serious movie that has serious things to say, and then something else, and it keeps going from there. So it was really an excellent way of keeping the audience on their toes. So yeah,
I'm really excited to see the rest of the short programs and other films now that once things start dying down in the weekend and we have time to see films and focus on the films, we're gonna see as many as possible.
You did see a panel. You got a panel, right?
Yes, I went to the networking panel yesterday that Justin Marks and Michael Bataille were on, and it was really great. I a lot of the stuff they said, having worked in development myself, hit home, and just getting their insight was great. So I'm hoping to get some more panels today and tomorrow.
I had a chance to catch the Writing in a Matrix, which was a panel about writing for video games. For the last 6 months to a year, I've been working in the video game marketing sector, and so it's been very fun to sort of be involved in production of video game adverts and trailers, and so I thought it was a good one because it's a real emerging. So the headline that they kept using at this panel, which was insightful, was that we're in the silent film era of video games, which is true when speaking about story. Obviously, we're very evolved when it comes to other things, but when it comes to story, there's still new ways every day of figuring it out. You talk about virtual reality and other things that are coming through. So it was an awesome panel to catch.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about it. Actually, it's kind of crazy. Because you've got so many now big commercials doing video games, like the Halo's taking over TV. It's
that's right.
It's getting the market saturated.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the premiere. Tell us about how it was and how it went.
I mean, it was a little nerve-wracking at first before the film started, but it was awesome. Everybody that was there, a lot of people, really had come for us. We had given them cookies, or they'd heard about the film, and so it was really nice to talk to some of those people going in, and then just kind of standing back and watching an audience take in the film. It was great, and people were laughing throughout, and seemed really engaged, and it was cool. It's it was our first time seeing it with an audience. So
nobody's seen the movie yet. I mean, this was it. Aside from Emily and Nadia and our crew and our and cast, it's just we're the only ones who've seen it. So it's so enlightening to see where people laugh. It's like people find the most interesting things funny, and things that you never really thought were going to hit that hard, and then things that you thought were going to hit super hard, maybe not so much. And it's just such an interesting living, breathing thing to show a movie that you've worked on for a year at this point. To a full packed house. I mean, attendance was great. I mean, the venue that they have, which is the Rollins Theater at the Long Center, so it's 280 seats. I mean, it's huge for a shorts program. That's awesome.
Like 80 capacity.
Yeah, pretty much close to full as far as I could tell. And this is a unique thing because we were handing these cookies out at the door, just thank you so much for coming type of deal. It's like this interactive experience where they get to see Evelyn's eat the cookie, make a wish, and then do the same thing themselves. They're like, oh, this is what it tastes like.
Yeah, there was a great reaction to the first image of the cookies on screen. Had a great reaction because everybody had seen them and been eating them on their way into the theater. So it was pretty cool when that happened.
Make it all the way into the theater, but
yeah, I don't think so.
Well, kind of last question. The Austin Film Festival bumped this year to Halloween weekend. They've always done a week before, and it's Halloween today. I'm curious, have you guys been able to get out into the city and being here on a crazy holiday? Because Austin, just to let y'all know, for Halloween, 6th Street's be 80, 90,000 people. It'd be ridiculous. Are y'all psyched about being here on this crazy weekend? And have you been able to get out into the city at all?
We're staying not far from the Driscoll on 6th Street, so
we'll get ready for tonight.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, we're it's just part of the Austin and the festival experience for us. It's this is my first time in Austin, and first time at the festival, obviously. So just being here on 6th Street. You know, the streets close after a certain time, and it's a scene there, and it's like it's just part of the experience. And I don't know, I love it. It's been awesome.
Yeah, we've been going out a little bit. Our loft is that we're renting is on 6th Street, and it's just it's a party. I've never been to Austin before, and it's been like it's awesome. Like, just everybody's out there. It feels like Mardi Gras, and I guess today it's gonna feel like straight up like Halloween. You're not gonna know where you're at.
Yeah, y'all aren't gonna. It's gonna be an experience. Y'all having. It's nuts.
I'm pumped. It's great to be in the new city for a holiday like this. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like experience what Austin has for Halloween is gonna be super fun.
Yeah, we don't have costumes though.
Yeah.
But
you have cookies.
we have
Fellas, you guys,
cookies, and we have our Mets jerseys. So maybe we'll do something with that. Yeah, let's go Mets.
Hey, it won. They won last.
They won last night. It was
Deal.
good. It was important. Yeah, they needed that win.
Well, guys, I think that's the best way to do it. Maybe Met Pride at the end.
New York Met Pride. But no, we just want to thank Austin Film Festival and all the staff and volunteers and everybody that makes it what it is. It's been we've only been here a few days, and it's been an amazing experience so far.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.